Good day, everybody, and welcome everyone to When ArkLaTex Storms Strike, Then and Now. I'm Chief Meteorologist Patrick Dennis, along with the legend himself, meteorologist Joe Haynes.
Well, it's safe to say we've seen all kinds of severe weather events hit and impact the ArkLaTex, ranging from major floods to damaging derechos to tornadoes. In the next 30 minutes, we'll revisit some of those extreme weather events.
Yeah, we will also take a look at how weather data is collected, whether or not it's somebody doing the data collection themselves or the latest technology as well to help keep you safe. And we've advanced and we've come a long ways, especially with our Willis-Knighton, live Doppler radar. But first, we look back at an event that occurred nearly 50 years ago, half a century ago.
The Bossier City tornado in 1978.
The National Weather Service in Shreveport has issued a tornado warning for West Central Caddo Parish in northwestern Louisiana, West Central Bossier Parish in northwestern Louisiana.
The whole house was shaking. That's what really woke me up.
Were you in the house when it happened?
Yes, ma'am. She was.
What happened?
Well, we heard sound like a bad windstorm and rain, and then it sounded like hail, so I got up to shut the windows, and that's when I noticed it was flying debris and wasn't hail, and I knew it was a tornado, so I told my wife to jump on the floor.
It was December 3rd, 1978.
The killer storm was first sighted by the Shreveport weather radar as a large individual thunderstorm moving in front of another line of thunderstorms.
It was early that morning that a severe thunderstorm warning was issued in Shreveport, and not long after that, a tornado warning was issued.
And as it moved across us here at the regional airport, we did get strong winds, 40 mile an hour, heavy rain. That was about it. And when the cell was about halfway between regional airport and Bossier, we noted a characteristic of a tornado forming.
That tornado would eventually touch down right over there on the south side of the Crossroads Shopping Center and then make its way northeast past the heart of Bossier, and it would turn out to be one of the strongest nighttime tornadoes to ever hit not just Bossier City, but almost anywhere in the country.
It was considerably humid, a lot of moisture present for that time of the year. Very warm conditions. In fact, high temperatures that day were reached close to midnight. Temperatures were near 80 degrees at midnight on December 3rd.
Not long after the tornado touched down in the Benton Road area right by I-20, it moved northeast and crossed right through here, Pierre Bossier Mall's parking lot. It leveled almost everything around Airline Drive at Interstate 20, with the exception of one building. It was the A-frame Whataburger, which stood right over there where the present-day Starbucks happens to be located.
It was 15 minutes from the time the severe thunderstorm warning was issued until the killer tornado was spawned at 1:50 a.m. The storm was tracked for 50 miles.
This is not that unusual. We have had 4 damaging tornadoes in the month of December since 1933 in the Shreveport-Bossier area. We do not have the frequency of tornadoes that they have in the Central Plains, but violent tornadoes, we have just as high a frequency if you look at over a 50-year period as any place in the United States.
The storm would eventually be rated an F4 with 260 mile-per-hour winds. That is the maximum in the F4 category before becoming an F5. And you know that F that is there, it stands for Fujita, Ted Fujita. That's who it's named after, and it caught his attention, and he actually came to our area after that storm.
Storms were surveyed much differently back in the late 70s and the whole decade of the 80s versus what they are now. Storm surveying was in its infancy, if you will. So once this tornado produced its damage, meteorologists from the National Weather Service here in Shreveport went out together with engineers, with scientists specifically, and in this particular tornado, since it was such a devastating tornado, a scientist named Ted Fujita, where we got the original name, the Fujita scale, came out and collaborated with Ernest Etheridge, who was the official in charge of the National Weather Service in Shreveport, and they did not only a ground survey but also an aerial survey of the complete damage path.
Go underneath the bed, and by the time we hit the floor, the window exploded into the house, and then the walls exploded, and the house was gone. we went to look for our kids and find them both, thank God, and we've been out here ever since trying to salvage what we can, start over again.
This was one of the most significant tornadoes to ever occur anywhere across the country, let alone the ArkLaTex.
Those, by the way, were the two young girls killed in the storm there. Special thanks, by the way, National Weather Service, also Twin Blends Photography, that always has great photos, so let's share them. Real quick question before we go to break. What do you think? Ted Fujita himself coming to the area.
Coming to Shreveport or Benton. Or Bossier City.
Bossier City.
Incredible.
Incredible there, and learned a lot. They did surveying a lot different back then versus what they do today.
Well, now it's the enhanced Fujita scale, so it's changed.
And the enhanced Fujita scale, and the Weather Service uses technology, a wide variety of technology from radar imagery and other things as well to be able to document if something was actually a tornado or not.
It all started right there.
There you go, everybody. Folks, we got a lot more ahead for you. Again, we're going to venture back down sort of memory lane. We're going to take a look at a tornado that unfortunately was deadly, and it hit on the day before Easter back in 1999. That is coming up. Welcome back, everybody, once again. When ArkLaTex storms strike then and now. It was just less than a week ago, the day before Easter in northeast Texas, just outside of the ArkLaTex, Lindell, Texas, known now as the Lindell tornado that formed, and it was a very well documented storm that caused damage. It wasn't a wide storm, only about 32 yards wide, and it wasn't a necessarily strong storm, but it still caused damage out there. Winds estimated to be just under 100 miles per hour. But once again, a sign this is the season to watch for storms, and Easter weekend happens to be one of those times to watch as well. Joe?
And Patrick, just like the Lindell storm, there was another tornado that many people still remember that hit the day before Easter, and many call it the Benton tornado.
I remember that day well, as much also as a very much younger meteorologist.
Fewer gray hairs, right?
Yeah, it happened in early April of 1999 on the Saturday before Easter.
Destruction in this suburban community. A tornado warning had been issued, but residents say it was only lightly raining when a huge funnel cloud captured on this home videotape appeared.
I was just laying there in the ditch and seen it pass over, and it was scary.
The year was 1999. It was April the 3rd. It was a Saturday, and it was the day before Easter. It was a day many people around the ArkLaTex still remember.
So those are individual pictures that I took. These were taken roughly several days after the Benton tornado. And so I was able to get access up there to around the old Ace Hardware shop off North Market Street, as well as areas around the Hay Meadow Mobile Home Park.
Some people who lived here worked all their lives for what they had. Now when they come back here, all they see is debris and piles of rubble.
It was on that day in 1999, it was an outbreak of tornadoes, 4 of them actually. One of them unfortunately turned out to be deadly and impacted the areas primarily north of Bossier City.
We went and got in the bathtub, hid in there and watched the roof pop up and down until it left.
Roofs were blown off, walls collapsed, huge trees snapped in half.
Winds with this particular tornado, this was on the original Fujita scale, so they ranged generally from about 206 miles an hour upwards to 260.
All the F4 damage was in Bossier Parish, and again, the fatalities occurred in 2 mobile home parks, the Hay Meadow mobile home park, and then there was another nearby mobile home park where a few other fatalities occurred.
When it was over, hundreds were injured and 6 were dead. Most of the casualties were in this trailer park.
People was hollering help, help, and I went over to assist a man and his wife. The man died first and then the lady died next.
The 2 people killed here were thrown more than 100 yards from their home. And this was all that was left of the trailer where a young woman and her boyfriend were killed.
Meteorologists at the National Weather Service issued the warnings when the storm was forming over Cross Lake. It eventually made its way across North Market, across the Red River, and over into Bossier Parish, where it impacted areas just north of Bossier City and up towards the areas of around Cypress Black Bayou.
In addition to this being a high-end tornado event for us, again, we had 3 F3s and 1 F4 tornado in this event, which is pretty unusual for this part of the country.
The fact that you've got things placed in places that they shouldn't be, things that are totally destroyed, and then right next to them things that are just left untouched. It's a weather phenomenon, it's a natural phenomenon, and it's something that just defies logic.
You've got to give a lot of lot of respect to Mother Nature there, and it's just so many lives that were impacted. We had over 100 mobile homes that were completely destroyed at Hay Meadow Mobile Home Park, 7 fatalities, I believe over 100 injuries associated with that as well. A total of nearly 400 structures that were damaged or destroyed from this particular tornado.
And I walked outside, I started calling, trying to get somebody to, tell them I was okay. And I heard people outside saying, we need help out here, we need help out here. And I walked out, and just the other end of the trailer park was just demolished.
The damage that I have can be repaired, but these other people are going to have to start over.
We know there's bodies, we know there's dead people, we know there's a lot of walking wounded. We don't have a count on that right now.
I don't really have any feelings except I feel like I'm walking around in circles sometimes. I don't know what to do first.
That is why we do what we do. Make sure you download your Mega 3 weather app. Follow us for your Willis Knight Mega 3 live Doppler radar for the very latest. By the way, severe weather awareness for you. A watch versus a warning. They issue a watch several hours beforehand usually, but a warning could be just a matter of minutes. Make sure you have a plan when a watch is issued, and you put that plan into action when you have a warning. So have a plan ready for tornado watches. Be ready and prepared to put those into action again when the warning is issued. Big question of it is, do you have a plan? Start thinking about that now. As many walls as you can between yourself and the outside of your home, and always charge up your devices as well. We're going to break, but we got more for you straight ahead on this special weather report for you. Welcome back once again, everybody. When ArkLaTex storms strike then and now. We go back to the year 2024. You might remember this, Hurricane Beryl. It created the biggest tornado outbreak in ArkLaTex history as far as number of tornadoes in one day. Warnings, 67 tornado warnings, 43 tornado touchdowns, and we spent more than 7 hours consecutively on the air that day with this storm. I personally have never seen anything like it in my life with a hurricane, or in this case, a tropical storm that affected us, producing supercells that ended up producing that number of tornadoes, F2 tornadoes as well, and it was quite a day back in 2024.
And before that historic day, you had to go back to, Easter Sunday of 2000 to likely find the previous record for a one-day outbreak here in the ArkLaTex. In fact, all 4 states were impacted.
They were, and actually I remember that day as well, since I was actually traveling back on Easter Sunday morning from Arkansas, headed straight to the station as the storms started to hit. It, of course, will be a day many still remember.
And about, probably 300 yards to the south of the fire department, we just saw a fog cloud come down, and it wasn't all the way on the ground. It was looked like it had a bunch of debris.
I came out the door, and I'm scared to death of bad weather anyway, so I came out the door, saw the wind blowing real bad, and Josh was over here. We got him, and all we heard was wind blowing everywhere, and all you could hear was the wind and stuff banging. And
it looks like a tornado. It looks like it could be one. God, I'm out of here.
I guess we could say, I'm not sure how historic an event went down, but just tell me briefly, if I asked you what took place that day, what would you tell somebody?
Well, going into the event, we were expecting the potential for severe thunderstorms that day across our region. We just weren't expecting the scope of the severe thunderstorms, and especially the large hail and the number of tornadoes that we had.
That would be over towards Napleton, would it? He would have nailed that.
Really, if you look at that event, it was one of the most memorable events because of the amazing supercell structure that those storms had. Rarely do we see supercells that discrete in this part of the country. Normally, those are more confined to the southern plains, the traditional tornado alley.
After it hit the storm, it took a few minutes before the water started seeping through. So it took a little while. Now it's completely flooded.
But in another car on Highway 343 in northern Caddo Parish, Chris Dugan, a friend and their dog Spud are forced to pull off the road.
Here's the bridge. We must get in the bridge.
Where is it about? There's a tornado.
We actually had tornado tracks in covering all 4 states that we have forecast and warning responsibility. So McCurtain County had a tornado, We had some in southwest Arkansas, northeast Texas, and north Louisiana. So yeah, every part of the ArkLaTex was impacted by this event.
Still, it did produce one F0 tornado that originated on Cross Lake and moved into downtown Shreveport and affected the Sportran bus station and their tent canopy at the time and damaged that canopy there downtown.
The back-to-back Easter weekend tornadoes in '99 and 2000 really raised awareness. So with those two back-to-back events, it really did heighten the awareness of citizens here in the ArkLaTex.
What Matt said there at the very end, back-to-back 99, 2000.
Yeah.
Folks, look, please understand this. That is the reason why this past Saturday we were on the air with those tornado warnings. We don't like interrupting your programming, but that's why we were on the air for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Life or death and significant property damage, all possibilities.
Yeah. And we take it seriously as well because, again, folks, remember, it's our Willis-Knighton Mega 3 live Doppler radar, and that Doppler radar was recently completed, the construction of it. But what's the key thing in your mind as we get ready to go to break as far as why it's important? It's all about time, isn't it?
Absolutely. And sometimes you don't have much time.
Right.
So if you could see it, it's time to get in the shelter and get ready to go because oftentimes these storms are moving at 50 to 60 miles per hour.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So folks, that is another reason why the investment's been made in this to give you the most up-to-date location for severe weather, your Willis-Knighton Mega 3 live Doppler radar. Keep it right here. Our special continues here. When ArkLaTex storms strike then and now after the break. Welcome back once again, everybody. When ArkLaTex storms strike then and now. And, we've talked a little bit about technology. But, really and truly, technology is wonderful, and our live radar is wonderful. It just adds and enhances things. But again, eyes and ears in the community are what's really important, and it's been just more than 10 years ago. You were actually part of this.
Yep.
We're starting the Weather Watcher program, and I think we're going to show some video that actually one day Rick Rowe was doing a story on June Jones. But why are the Weather Watchers important in your opinion?
Well, not everybody lives at the airport, okay, and we get a lot of our weather data 24/7 at the airport, but it's nice to get information from around the communities. But also not only just day to day getting high temperatures and what have you, during storm events like June Jones, calling her out on TV.
Yeah, she actually shared in that story there with Rick that there was a storm around Elysian Fields. Yep. And you called her name out. June Jones, I need your report. And I don't know if she texted or calls it. I'm in the closet.
Yeah.
And so, in doing that. But I mean, again, they're and we have them all over the ArkLaTex.
We do. We need more in Toledo Bend.
Okay.
I tell you what, we need some more folks down in Toledo Bend. So help us out there. But we got plenty around the metro area and I-20 North. I mean, we've got folks, Ozan, Arkansas. We got them down, Bob Baker in Carthage. He's been with us since the early 2000s. So we've had some folks that have been here a long time. And then from 2010 on, a whole bunch of them.
And whenever we were doing the profiles on some of those, I've had a chance to visit with people like, as far as, Ronnie Vale.
Yep.
And then we also had Brian Loper as well. And so, and many others as well. And of course, I'm sorry I'm not naming all of them. It's impossible to go and end up doing that. But they are so vital. So in case you're curious, if you want more information about our Weather Watchers and learn more about them, how to become one, how to file a report, simply visit www.ktbs.com/Weather Watchers or get in touch with us and we can let you know that as well. We're not quite done just yet. Keep it right here. We got more of When ArkLaTex Storms Strike Then and Now after the break. Welcome back once again, everybody. When ArkLaTex storms strike then and now. And a quick reminder to everybody, again, make sure you download that Mega 3 weather app to stay up to date on the latest weather information. Follow us as well so you stay up to date on when severe weather strikes with our Willis-Knighton Mega 3 live Doppler radar for you to keep you informed. So, Joe?
Yeah.
So you hadn't seen some of that stuff before. I mean,
no.
what did you think about that?
And I've been here since late 2000, but it was incredible. It seemed like every Easter we had a severe weather outbreak or a tornado outbreak. And so you're from here originally, so you're right in the middle of that. You're at a competing station, but you're right in the middle of it.
It brought back a lot of memories as well. But as we wrap things up, I want to say a special thank you once again to our friends at the National Weather Service in Shreveport. We cannot do what we do without them as well. Special thank to as far as Twin Blends also. Thank you for watching, folks. When ArkLaTex storms strike then and now, you stay with your Mega 3 weather team to stay up to date on the latest weather, especially when it is severe.